The fun thing is, I like coffee and I like geography. So, what mad person decided to put them together? Well, Kate did, of course. I'm Sean Ferry from Track Culture, and you're listening to the Coffee and Geography podcast. Grab yourself a brew, enjoy the listen, and just have a generally good time. And if you don't, try again. Thanks very much.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Coffee and Geography podcast. Well underway now with episode 4, and this is a very exciting one for me because, well, we were chatting. So this is Marvee Sambajon. We've been chatting almost for 20 minutes already before we recorded, and I'm already connecting with you and got a lovely smile on my face, and I just cannot wait for the listeners and the viewers to experience this chat. So good afternoon, good evening to you in the Philippines. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Good morning to you over there.
Yeah, so where Marvee is, folks, it's 5:30 there in the afternoon and 9:30 in the morning here. All right, I'll admit it. I said to Marvee, I was actually wearing my onesie, and I only just threw on this foxy shirt, and Marvee was like, Kit, you should have just worn your onesie. It would have been fine. It would have been fun. I was like, yes. All right. Okay. So the bottom half is still covered in my fox onesie. I have to admit, I'm not going to stand up to prove it. Just have to trust me on that one. So to introduce Marvee, everybody. So Marvee worked in television for about 14 years, mostly working on documentaries as a producer and writer. She covered several marine scientific expeditions before working in a research lab as a comms and creative head, where she and her team tried to bring marine science closer to the people through science communication. She's an only child, can't walk or commute without listening to music, and probably watches too many TV series and movies. Yeah, a nice little honest intro there. So, okay, let's break into it. What are you? So you got your earbuds in and stuff like that. So, what is your go-to music, or when you're sitting down with to kind of binge watch a TV? So for me at the moment, it's Stranger Things is on the TV and Starfleet Academy. That's the two I've got at the moment. What about yourself?
Okay, so for series, I just finished the first season of The Pit.
Okay.
It's a medical drama. And because the second season just came out, so I binge watched the first season of The Pit. I watched it because there are Filipino nurses.
Oh.
You have to.
Yeah, right.
So for series, it's The Pit.
Okay, well, there you go, folks. Yeah, and there you go. We could now go on to a complete episode talking about the importance of visibility in popular culture and TV. That's right. So, and those of you who are a Trekkie like me and watching Starfleet Academy, you are hearing a lot of discourse about how it's too woke and it's having too many people of different shapes and sizes and identities. That's life and reality, folks. We want to see ourselves.
And isn't it in space?
I know, right? It's like it's in space with all these cultures.
What's the problem with aliens? You're supposed to have aliens in space.
Yeah. There's a say, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. IDIC. That's what this stands for, folks. It's the Vulcan salute, and they have a little symbol to represent infinite diversity and combinations. So you're here in the Coffee and Geography Coffee House virtually. So you're sitting here with your cup of something. So what would you usually take to when you're sitting down with a drink with a friend?
Okay, so when I was still working, I used to drink coffee, but now that I'm staying remote here in my childhood home, my mom brews this from leaves in our backyard. So this one is mango leaves, moringa leaves, and soursop leaves. She picks them up from our backyard. We have trees. And then she washes them and boils them and then sieves them. So, and then the containers are also special because I bought coffee from the airport and this is where the coffee came in. So it's reusable, obviously. And the best part is it has a lid.
Yes. But that, I think, you know what, Marvee? I think in 6 seasons, you might be the first ever guest who's actually got their own homebrew coffee. I think. I don't think it's happened before. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Marvee's mom. We love you. That's amazing. shout out to Marvee's mum. I think the closest we've had maybe was the actor Adil Hussein, who I was so fortunate to speak to on this. I think the closest he had is that he had some kind of very, very locally picked Assam, because he's from the Golpara region of India. So I think that's but I think that was still kind of like picked and transported and slightly processed, but I think that was the closest we ever got. So you are holding the record now for the homebrew, thanks to your mum.
It's outside.
Yes.
It's from
Yeah,
outside.
just outside, literally, folks. Beat that. Come on, anybody want to come on and match that? I want to hear from you. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen now because we want to talk about your sense of place. So you're in the Philippines and you're in an area of, so let me know if I pronounce this right. Is it Lucena City or Lucena City? How do you pronounce that? Lucena City. So yeah, talk to us a little bit about this place in the Philippines. Then I'm just going to put it on my screen so people watching the video can see. There we go. So that's where it's located, folks. So about southeast of Manila, and Philippines is a big country. How far is that from Manila, Marvee, roughly?
So it's roughly 129 kilometers.
Okay. Lovely.
So Lucena City, the capital of Quezon province. It's a long province. It's one of the longest province that we have. And it's a highly urbanized city, but it's still in the province. So it still retains some more rural feel, but it's highly urbanized as well. So we have a city center, and we serve the entire province because we're the capital. Okay.
And we're just looking at the map here. It seems like such a really interesting. Oh, this is beautiful. So that's at Mount Banahor.
Yeah.
St. Cristobal. So
yes,
folks, come
Green
on,
Mountain.
geographers. You look at this, folks. Right. If you're a geographer, especially a geography teacher, and you're looking at that, you know what that is instantly by looking at that. Is that active, dormant? Oh, sorry about my screen, folks. Just ignore it. It's the fox shirt. It's putting the camera off. I'm going to disappear every now and then. Anyway, so this volcanic mountain, and is that an active one or a dormant one, or is it extinct?
So I think it's extinct. It hasn't erupted in a long time. It's now basically considered a mountain.
Right.
I don't think they still
stable.
classify it as a volcano anymore. Although in other parts of the Philippines, there are a lot of active volcanoes.
Oh, of course, because you're part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, as it's called. That's a very very Western term. Is what quickly on that? Is that the term that you folks also use in the Philippines, or do you have your own term for kind of that area of activity?
I think we've adopted it, the Pacific Ring of Fire.
Yeah,
I think that's tough.
Yeah, there you go, folks. That's colonialism for you. It just gets everywhere. So yeah, but that's I mean, so you can see there, folks, on the screen. If you can't see it on the screen, you've got a beautifully defined. It's your classic like pimple-shaped volcano when you look at it from the top, and your crater opens out to the south, so you can quite clearly see that one of the major eruptions it had would have blasted itself down southwards, a bit like Mount St. Helens, really, in the United States of America, and it's so well defined. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's go back to where you are then. So Marvee, the question I like to ask people on this podcast is, you personally, so Marvee today, so what makes you in terms of your identity of place? So how much of Lucena City is in you, like the culture of it, the area of it is like, oh, I ooze this. This is the culture of this area is like this, and I'm like this. And the places that you've visited when you've been doing especially your documentary work and things like that, is there any part of places you visited which is now part of your identity? So so tell us about your identity in terms of the places you've lived and you've been, because that's geography makes our identity, doesn't it?
Okay, so I think my answer is going to be pretty weird. I only stayed here in my childhood city until I finished primary school. I went to high school in a different province. So I stayed in another municipality. And then I stayed there for 4 years for high school. And then I went to college in Metro Manila, which is in the
Ah,
National Capital Region. And basically, I
yep.
stayed in Manila all the while that I was working in television. And then I stayed with my aunt, which is in another province in Rizal, when I worked in the lab. So
Okay, so where is Grisel?
where?
Where is Grisel then?
What?
So where is Grisel located? Is that where you works in a lab? Whereabouts in the Philippines is that?
Oh, no, my lab is actually still in Quezon City. It's a National Capital Region, but I lived in
Okay.
Rizal.
Oh, I see. Right. So that's, see again what we're talking about. It's the host. That's the host's problem. That is kind of mislistening, mishearing. Okay, excellent. So how have all these things been absorbed into who you are today then?
I think that me being away for most of the time due to work and me going to different cities and municipalities, you tend to know people because of where they are. You know, where they are is reflected in who they are. And so for me, I come into a place as a blank slate because mostly I'm not really how do you say this? I'm not really a nomad because I
Right.
do live in one set of place, but I jet set around the country all the time. And so for me, I just go into another city or municipality as a blank slate, and I'm ready to know these people, who they are, and based on where they are. I think what especially is significant to me is when I went to Ifugao. It's up there, up north.
Okay.
Uh, it's where the rice terraces are in our country. And there are still a group of
So
indigenous
that's here.
people
Yep.
who live there. Ifugao.
Ifugao. Right. So that is for even further north, is it?
Even further north. Yes, it's up north.
Oh.
So that's
Okay.
where the rice terraces are. And these
Mm-hmm.
group of indigenous peoples, I was able to interview them and they were willing to share their history and culture with me, contingent upon what they will see inside of a chicken.
Right.
Do you get it? I asked
I,
permission to interview them, but they will agree to be interviewed contingent upon what they will see when they cut open the chicken. So
uh,
the culture is there, the history is there. It makes you feel like you're just a tiny part of this whole world. And also, when
right.
you're standing face to face with the grandeur of the rice terraces, it makes you feel small because it is a freaking mountain range that people have built
Yeah.
and shaped into something that they can use in their daily life. So it makes you small and it makes you humble. It humbles you to be in the presence of such
Mm.
greatness and grandeur. And when you go into these places and you hear about their history and their culture, it makes you feel like you're just a tiny cog in this whole thing that's continuing to roll along even after thousands of years, I guess. And I think that's what entices me in going into these places, learning about them and, you know, knowing about them.
Yeah. I had a very, yeah, I mean, I had the same experiences. So the first time I really, when I grew up, I only stayed in one place really, just outside of London, and I didn't really travel very much apart from real cozy locations to go on a family holiday, you know, kind of like homes from homes kind of thing. But the first real experience that I had in my own place in my own country was going to rural Wales. So, you know, still in part of the United Kingdom, but then a place which was so rural, up in the mountains with no light pollution, and that was quite profound to me because I could see the stars properly. I could experience, you know, what wilderness really. And then the next time, which really hit me, was when in 2003 I went to South Africa with the university, and rural South Africa near Kruger National Park in the Limpopo province, and that really changed my perspective of everything about, you know, my place in the world and how other people lived, but also how other people embraced their culture and their situation and how they lived and what they took for granted, what they were thankful for, and that really changed my mindset. And then the latter time is 2013 in Malawi, where I have a very, very strong connection now because of I did a teacher exchange there, and that was really, really profound. I've got some really close friends there. So yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. That I don't think, apart from folks in like rural Malawi, rural South Africa, I don't think I've been privileged enough, or I've been privileged to be welcomed into like a real indigenous space in places like the United States or other places like that. So yeah, I mean that must have been. I mean, so what when you try to communicate to other people about you know the indigenous folks in the Philippines and your experience in that, like what would you say is the one kind of lesson you try to pass on to other people to say, you know, the most profound thing I learned from them was, or can you not put an idea in it, or is it just a feeling? I mean, I'm trying to scratch here about what that was like.
First of all, it's a feeling. It's when you feel welcome somewhere that, you know, you're not intrinsically part of.
Yeah.
There's such a level of gratitude that you just can't express.
Yeah.
They have no obligation to welcome you. You know, you're not part of their tribe. You're an outsider. They have no obligation at all to welcome you. But to be welcomed into that, because there's a ceremony, you know, they bring out this jar that's, I think it's wine, and they make you drink, and everyone drinks from the same cup. That's profound. That is meaning that all of you are drinking from the same cup. And I still feel how I felt at that time. So there's a profound gratitude in being welcomed, where people have absolutely no obligation to welcome you there. And for them to actually share their history, their culture with you, first you have to respect it. You might not understand it. You might not accept it, you know, like, but you have to respect it. It is theirs. It is their culture. And you have to respect it. And it is a privilege to learn that, to know that. Again, they have no obligation to welcome you and to share that with you. So that in itself is already a privilege. So you might not understand it, you might not accept it, but you have to respect it.
Yeah.
And you have to not really place yourself in their shoes, but like, again, empathy is there. You know, you might not have lived the same experience, and you can empathize in what they have been through as people. Because I think that, you know, we're all human, and the things that we go through might be different, but the feelings that we have are the same.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's the main takeaway is respect. It is a privilege to be for them to share it with you. It's a privilege to be welcome. And the least you can do is to respect that.
Yeah, that is exactly. You've put that better than I ever could. The way that I felt, I sometimes I feel a bit guilty in respect. I mean, maybe I mean I don't know if this is really a thing, and there's a lot of discourse about it. But you know, maybe you have your own point of view on this. But this kind of like like white privilege guilt. I don't know if I've heard that term much, where you're starting to make this journey where you feel, you're starting to be aware now of the impact that colonialism, Western imperialism has had on the world, and how you start to suddenly realize. I mean, this is where the insult woke comes from, right? Is that you start to realize that the way that your culture is trying to override other cultures and things like that. And so I feel guilty because I try to reach out to people of Indigenous cultures and people not like me for the podcast. And I can't help but feel that almost I'm trying to take advantage of them. So I really want you on the podcast because but whereas what I'm really trying to do is I'm really trying to amplify their voice. I'm really trying to kind of like get other people to listen to them and use my platform to do that. But I still can't shake this guilt. I still can't shake this fact that I'm just being I'm very grateful and I'm trying to be respectful. So you see, I don't know. You see, I'm even trying. It's difficult for me to even verbalize the way I'm feeling. I feel guilty running this podcast sometimes. Like I feel like I'm taking advantage of people. So I'm not. I guess it's a disclosure rather than a question. But just basically in general, like what's your feeling about this? I mean, you have your own thoughts on where you will lie in terms of privilege, where you will lie in terms of that kind of hierarchy, or whatever, that false hierarchy and false, basically global feudal system, basically. But yeah, I mean, how do you feel as a Filipino, kind of like how someone like me says, I feel like I've got this white privilege guilt, and is it like, yeah, you should, or is it, well, give yourself some credit? I don't know. I'm not looking for compliments or soothing. I'm looking for an opinion of your point of view.
Okay. I think that now a lot of Westerners have that, even though they didn't do it, but it's their culture did it, their race did it. So on one hand, I think that's good that you recognize that atrocities have been committed in the past. And, what I think we should be more mindful of is what we can collectively do moving forward in the future. Also, in terms of that, I will contextualize that into our own country, because other provinces and other regions, they think of Manila as Imperial Manila.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Like Manila is superior. Like people from Manila are better, and then people in the province are less educated, or they're not as good as people from Manila. And that's not true at all. So in the same way that people from the global south are not inferior to people in the Western hemisphere. So I think that what we can do as people who are storytellers and people who want to amplify voices, especially those whose voices need to be amplified, I think it's better if you let them take the initiative if they want to. So it doesn't make you any worse as a person if they do not agree or if they don't come on the show. But I think that the initiative should come from them if they want to be on the show, if they want their voice to be amplified. Also, I think we can do it in a way that honors them instead of patronizes them.
Right.
Because sometimes it can feel like that to them. So for example, for me, I'm very upfront. Like, this is what I want to know. This is my storyline. This is how I want to present things. Is that okay with you? And for me, it's a conversation. They're part of it. I'm spearheading this, but you guys are part of it, if not the most important part. So it's a collaborative effort. They are part of it. They're not passive members of, I'm just shooting you, I'm just interviewing you. It's not like that. So I think there is a way that honors them instead of patronizing them.
Oh, that makes total sense. Yeah, and I that does make me feel better because, and yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, from a geography point of view, you know, if you reduce the scale, you're going to have that. You're going to have that disparity between, you know, even within a small scale. So not just, as you said, you know, people from Manila and people from the provinces. You know, there's their dynamic as well. But even within the same town, within the same village, there's pockets of differences even within communities as well. So no matter what scale you are, there is this kind of almost privilege ladder and this kind of power ladder. So yeah, and that does you know, that does comfort me in the fact that, well, what's comfort me is that you've just said, Kit, don't forget the geography around it as well. You know, it makes total sense. In terms of having a conversation, yeah, I mean, this is the style. I mean, people, you know, they come on, we have a chat. You know, I get them to take. That's why I like people to fill in a form first to say, what do you want to talk about? So yeah, that's great. And actually, that's perfect, because the reason why I wanted to ask you that question in particular is because of your experience as someone who's been a writer and a producer in documentaries and stuff. So I think this is a good time to kind of like move on to that and say, like, yeah, this work that you did, where you were covering marine scientific expeditions, and then your the comms work that you've done since then. So tell us a little bit about that. Like maybe start with the kind of experience that you had. Maybe, you know, not, you know, it's classic to say your favorite experience in this kind of stuff, but you will have deep down inside what you would want to share. So tell us a bit about this work you did as a producer and writer on these documentaries, because it sounds fascinating to me.
It didn't start out that way. So, if I'm being honest, one day our boss just told me and my cameraman, attend this meeting. And then we went to the meeting and they said, okay, so we're shipping out tomorrow at 6 a.m. And my cameraman and I were, what is happening? We're going where? We're doing what? And so we went back to the office that afternoon and told our boss, like, ma'am, they want us to go tomorrow. And our boss was like, what? Where? And we can't even tell, we're not even supposed to tell people where we're going. It's supposed to be confidential. And like, we can't just disappear for a month and not tell people where we're going.
All right.
We have families. Also, we can't like pull out equipment from the television station if we're not gonna tell them where we're going. So yeah, that was the first time. I've never been on a ship before, and it is a military ship, so you know there are rules and there are a lot of orientations. And the thing is, they're doing these orientations where we're underway. I can't like jump.
Yeah,
There's no escape because
you're on the
we're
ship.
already moving.
Yes.
And we're on the
Oh my
way.
goodness.
Yeah, and you know, first time, and there was really no directive as well, like what we're supposed to do. They just said document, and like it's hard when non-media people tell you how to do your job. It's like, document, yeah, I know, but like for what? There is a difference in shooting literally in the sense that you're just documenting what's happening, and there's a difference in shooting where there is an objective and you're working towards producing something, you know. That's why I feel like my cameraman and I were really annoyed, because like, you just sent us out to do this and you don't even give clear directions of what you want and what you want us to do. And so when we're underway, my cameraman and I, we just decided together that like, yeah, we're gonna do something about this. We're gonna shoot it, like we're gonna produce something. And so again, I went there as a clean slate, as a blank slate, because it is an expedition where Filipino marine scientists are conducting marine scientific research. I didn't even know that they do that, which again, of course they do that. How the hell do we know all these things about our oceans if they don't do that? But again, that is part of why I'm so passionate about this, because I experienced it myself. I was ignorant of it. I didn't know about it. And that is why now I work so hard to make sure that more people, more Filipinos know about it and to appreciate the value of it. Because that's how I learned. I learned by following them, by being out there on site with them, on the field, under the sun, burning in the sea. And I think that that's what made me appreciate like all the hardships, whatever they experience, I experienced too. It's blazing hot. It's 6 in the morning, but like the equator sun is right above you, and
Oh,
it feels like noon. And sometimes it's raining, pouring rain, and it's like a blizzard. And so that's how I learned from following scientists. And I I think that I would like to think that I also made an impact on them as well, because they were
okay.
very not used to being followed and being asked questions. Because most of the time, scientists are insular. You know, they only talk to fellow scientists, fellow
True.
academics.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't talk to normal people. And here I am. Like, what is that? What is that equipment? What does it do? What's it for? What are you doing? So they are forced to communicate and to share their science with me, with someone who has no idea of what they're doing at all. And so that's where the idea started of bridging this gap. Like, hey, I don't know anything and you know everything. And how can we meet halfway and make more people learn about this? And so I think that's how it started for me. That's the impact that I had from going there.
Yeah.
I went to like 4 different marine scientific expeditions, 3 to the West Philippine Sea and 1 to the Philippine Rice. So I spent 3 years, 3 summers at sea, just following scientists.
So did you did you definitely got your sea legs then?
Yes, yes, I did. Definitely
Were,
did.
did you get seasick to start with? Like were you the kind of person who was like, or was you like, no, this is fine? And did any of your crew get any seasickness? Because I imagine that. Woo.
So it's just me and my cameraman. He fared better than I did. The first day, I felt dizzy in the big ship, in the military ship. And then during the latter years, we went into a smaller ship. That that was something else. Because the thing is, I didn't throw up. What happened to me is that I slept for 16 hours while everything was. When I woke up, they told me that they had to secure the refrigerator because that's how.
How did
Yeah,
you sleep through that?
I don't know. And the funny thing is, my cameraman, he went downstairs, down the deck, because the sleeping quarters were below deck, and he said he talked to me, like, "Hey, wake up, or at least eat something. They're starting to get worried about you." And then
Oh,
in
oh.
my mind, I know that he came down and talked to me. And in my mind, I answered him like, dude, I'm okay. I just need to ride this out. I'm not really hungry. I just wanna go to sleep some more and then ride this out. In my mind, I answered him coherently. And then in the morning, he said, you know what you said to me yesterday? I talked to you. I said, yeah, I know, I'm aware. And he said, no, you said, no, I answered you. Like, I'm okay. I'm fine. Tell them I'm fine. I'm hungry. I'm going to sleep it out. And then I'll see you tomorrow. And he said, no, you said,
Oh my
no.
goodness. Oh no.
So, yeah, I didn't throw
Oh,
up. That was something else.
okay.
Also,
Yeah. So
one anecdote last.
go on then.
Um, So there's a lot of scientists and then us. And this is like the first year that I did this. So there's a rubber boat for us. There's a rubber boat for the scientists. Scientist rubber boat, I don't know what happened to it exactly. But going back, so our ship has a big hull, and it can't exactly go near the island because it's gonna the hull's gonna damage the coral reefs, right?
Yeah.
So it has to stay away. So we use a rubber boat to go from like the ship to the island. And so the scientists got on a rubber boat and we were left in the island. One way travel from the island to the ship is an hour. So it's 5 p.m. They left. They left us in the island. And so they're gonna go to the ship. They're gonna get to the ship 6 p.m. And then they're gonna come back, and we're gonna come back for us at around 7 p.m.
And then
7. Total darkness. And then I'm hungry, I'm tired, I'm thirsty, and then it starts to rain.
Oh no.
On top of that, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, and now I'm cold. I see this thunderstorm, this thundercloud just coming our way, and I see it because I see the lightning.
Yeah.
I'm like, it doesn't matter how good I am at swimming. If that lightning strikes, we're all dead. So
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
tired, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm cold, I'm afraid. And
Yes.
so, yeah, and now I'm pissed off.
Yes.
Because like, why would you leave us there?
Yeah.
And so I didn't talk to anyone when we got back. I just went to my cabin and then I took a shower, hot shower because I'm cold.
Cold.
And then I was like, I'm gonna eat tomorrow. It doesn't matter. So the next morning, the Navy people, they said, I didn't want to tell you this last night because I know you're already pissed off. But there was a shark that was following your rubber boat.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it was a shark.
So I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm cold, and I'm afraid. And there was a thunderstorm, and apparently there was a shark.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's just a day for us.
Marvee, you should get that on a t-shirt. You know, I survived, and then just list everything, perhaps with a little emoji of everything, emoji of a thunderstorm, a shark and everything, and then with a little pissed off emoji underneath all of that. Don't talk to me. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm so glad you're here to talk about it and laugh about it now. So I was thinking, just quickly to kind of touch on it before we move on to talking about the thing I showed you earlier. So all this stuff, then the communication of the science, the marine science, and the work that you've been doing, communicating and things about the studies on algae blooms, plastic pollution, all this kind of stuff. Why is that important? Why is this the kind of stuff that you've really coalesced and focused on? You think, no, these are the issues I feel need communicating.
Okay, so I think one of the problems that we have, which I kind of touched on earlier, is that people don't know about these problems at all. I think that, for example, plastic pollution. When people in the Philippines think about plastic pollution, it's the landfills. It's the, trash you see on the sidewalk. But they don't understand that there's a lot of portion of plastic pollution that happens in the ocean, in our seas. And people have to be concerned about that because we are an archipelago. We are surrounded by seas. And I don't think that Filipinos think about that necessarily, which is sad because, again, we are maritime people. We are an archipelago and we should think about our seas more. Because, for most of Filipinos, I think that, in terms of progress, progress is land-based, right? It's having buildings, having structures. But our natural resources is primarily from the sea. And people don't understand that. Also, problems. Pollution is, people think about pollution as landfills and air pollution, but a lot of pollution happen in the ocean, which has a big impact on our marine resources. Our marine resources mean food security. Our marine resources mean healthier environments. Because again, people don't understand the economic, the environmental value of the sea and the economic value of the sea. So I think that it's important to talk about and teach people about plastic pollution and so in terms of algal blooms, people are aware that it happens, but their primary knowledge is what to do.
Right.
So I'm very close to algal blooms because I did a research when I was still in the lab about how information is communicated to people about algal blooms. So from what I've learned is that the people know what to do, but they don't really understand the processes that are involved and what happens and what causes algal blooms. So in turn, they might be unwittingly contributing to algal blooms by feeding, using a lot of feeds that increases the nitrogen. So if they don't understand why it happens, they can't be part of the solution or the prevention. So I think that's why science communication, marine science communication in a archipelagic country such as the Philippines is very important. Because sometimes people are acting not supportive of their interests because they don't know. So knowledge and awareness is a first step, but it is only the first step. But even that, we don't have as much right now. And that therein lies the problem. This is controversial, actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how accurate this was. Yeah.
Well, I think that most of the studies are, they use programs that are, they plot out. These are estimates, because I don't really think that people count how much plastic there is. These are estimates, and that's the problem as well. That if we don't know how much garbage and pollution we have, we can't accurately say if we're reducing them or if they're just increasing.
Yeah.
Also,
so is this an underestimate then? Is this? Do you think that they're underestimating it? I mean, or they got the proportions wrong?
Well, from what we study in the lab, plastic pollution is everywhere, but we don't really have the accurate numbers.
Sure.
So what we actually advocate for is that first primarily within the Philippines, a standard method of research to start to count and give value and give a number to plastic pollution. So that's the first part, because we have a project which says what we advocate for in the lab is a standard research method across the Philippines so that we are able to determine the actual numbers or the data of how much plastic pollution there really is. Because what gets measured gets managed. If we have a value, if we have a number, then we can know and we can track if we're reducing it, if it's increasing. And also, it's important to emphasize that plastic pollution is different in different cities and in different
Right.
municipalities. So for the coastal, this is part of our research in the lab before. So for the coastal areas, most of the plastic pollution or the plastic debris are like from ghost nets, so related to
Okay.
fishing and the fishing industry. And then the more urbanized areas, it's like takeouts,
Oh.
styrofoam from food, so plastic packaging of chips and
Okay.
crisps. So it varies. And so the solution or the approach to plastic pollution should be localized
Okay.
and specific. So again, going back to geography, one one city's plastic pollution is different from another city's, and the solution should not be the same.
Great. That ties in really, really well actually to the previous chats that I've already had this season where yes, you've got the quantitative importance, of course, but then this is why it's so important to kind of like have the conversations and the qualitative stuff because yes, you might have the numbers and everything like that, but then what do you do about where the solutions? They've got to be locally based. And I think I can't remember who said it now. Maybe it was Omar who said it about, this is why this thing about, think globally, act locally kind of thing comes from, which is a really simple thing, but it really resonates with a lot of people. Thank you. That's really, really fascinating for doing that. I'm going to move on to the last thing to do now, Marvee, and that's we're going to spill the beans now. So here's our spill the beans little thing, because you say that as well as all these amazing experiences that you have of being almost struck by lightning and eaten by a shark, could have been worse. It could have been a shark struck by lightning trying to eat you. But what you also say, you say as a form of stress relief when you need to block out everything else and you just need to focus and just chill, is you count chains, stitches, and it's just you and your yarn, hook and stitches, and that's crochet. So we've got some friends to meet you, Marvee. So if you're watching on YouTube, folks, you've got the joys of this. So Marvee's going to say hello to Crochet Totoro from
Hi.
my neighbor Totoro, and is going to say, and also from Studio Ghibli, we have No Face from Spirited Away. There he is with his big mouth.
Oh, cool!
Oh, that's great, isn't it? So, and then
Cool.
this is my favorite that my partner. I know I didn't make any of these. My partner made this. So this is Toothless from the books of How to Train Your Dragon, because Toothless is green in the books, whereas in the movies he's very big and very purple. So it's just, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just, so Marvee, yeah, so that's what my partner does. Oh, and the other thing, my partner did do this. I forgot to show you this before we started. This is one of my partner's work colleagues did a crochet Greta Thunberg, which I take around when I do my climate education with kids. I take little Greta with me. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's I can't take credit for any of these. This is my partner and my partner's colleagues. But yourself then. So yeah, tell us a bit about your little crocheting little joys, and kind of do you do things like this, make little gloves, or do you do things like this, or is it what's your crocheting joy?
So I learned crochet in high school, but I started to do crochet as a hobby during the pandemic.
Okay.
Because during the pandemic, I still worked on TV and we lived in the office for like the worst part of it.
Oh, wow.
We stayed there, all of us. And so I just needed something to do for myself because, again, I can't go anywhere because we had to deliver news every day and we had to stay there every day.
Right.
So I do wearables.
Uh-huh.
So clothes. Because again, plus size, inclusivity.
Oh.
So part of that is like being able to make clothes that actually fit me. Also, in terms of sustainability, if I don't like it anymore, I just frog it. Frogging is You
Oh, is that when you pull the? Oh, is that what it's called?
frogging. Yes.
I promise we won't
Frogging.
frog you, Toothless. We won't frog you.
No, don't fuck Toothless. So yeah, so there's a blouse that I've remade 3 times because for me
Okay.
it's the process. The process is the thing that calms me down. Because
Right. Yeah.
counting, it's repetitive motion, it lulls you, and again, I needed that isolation because there are a lot of us before there
Yeah. Yeah.
during the pandemic. We all lived there, and you just kind of
So your
want-
COVID bubble was quite large, and this was your way to escape. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I do wearables, and then when I'm tired of them, I'm like, oh, they've seen me in this 3 times, and then frog it and make something else.
That's
So I
cool.
don't really use a lot of yarn. I just remake stuff because no one will know. Well, now they do. Before, no one would know. And so I do this. I use this for my oh, fell down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, for your little hot phone holder. Yeah.
Yeah, and also hard drives, a little
Yep.
added protection.
Cozies
So-
for your electronics. Yep.
Yeah. So I crochet lots of things. I wear hats. What else? And then yeah, mostly wearables. I do jackets, sweaters.
That's amazing.
Yeah, blouses. Yeah.
Yeah, my partner also made. I couldn't find them, but some hats, crocheted hats. So I think Kai has got. So for those of you who know Avatar: The Last Airbender, the kids love that. So Kai's got who's got what? I think Kai's got a Fire Nation hat. So we got the Fire Nation like red, and then like the Fire Nation symbol. And I think Theo's got a Waterbender's hat. I think so you could just customize it as much as you like as well, which is so good. But I love that kind of whole sustainability part. And you know what? I really need to be taught. Onion really needs to teach me, I think, because she says, I have asked her, so can you teach me? She said, well, I'm left-handed and I don't know how easy it is for a left-handed person to teach a right-handed person. I said, but you can surely, like, is this mirror in there? We can mirror each other. And just like, I don't know, perhaps I don't have the patience to learn, maybe.
What she does is amigurumi. The like characters and dolls. I think that's harder because the stitches have to be really tight.
Yeah, especially when you've got like features like this.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's really cool. I don't do that.
I don't know how she did. No,
I don't know either. I crochet and I can't even explain that. So
I know.
I think it's harder because the stitches have to be really tight. Because otherwise the filling would just like.
Yeah, I think you know what it's inside. You know what I remember her putting inside it. She's put in like old socks and stuff. I think that's how they've been stuffed. It's just with old socks and whatnot. Which is great because I always put holes in my socks.
I tried to like make a sort of stress ball.
Yeah.
With my crochet. The thing that I filled it is like the excess yarn.
Okay. Yep.
So
makes
that's
sense.
the filling.
Yeah.
So I just have a ball, which I don't have right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I made that. But
So Totoro's going to say, I don't know how she did it, but yeah. So folks, so Totoro is telling me that unfortunately running out of time, we need to finish off, which is so sad. But so there we go, nice little Totoro. Okay, Marvee, I've really enjoyed our chat, and it's such a shame to bring this to a close. So the last thing we're going to do then is link you to our previous guest by using words. So every episode, at the end of it, we ask each person to come up with a word for the next guest to have a go at. So last recording, we spoke to Robin Hayward, the lovely Robin Hayward, and they had a go at, let's see what word, they were given the word camouflage by Omar, which was very convenient for Robin because Robin does tree science and stuff like that. So Robin really struggled to come up with a word for you because there was so much that they could choose from. So Marvee, they just want you to have a go for 30 seconds talking about the word clay. That's what they came up with. Anything you like for 30 seconds about clay. You can make it up if you've got anything. But anyway, so when you're ready, give me a thumbs up and I'll start the timer for 30 seconds. So on the word clay. Go.
Okay, so here we have clay pots that
Okay.
we use. They make clay pots and that we cook in the clay pots because it gives a distinctive flavor. So I think that's very us. It ties to us geographically. I think we do that, and you don't clean it in the usual way to preserve the flavor of the pot, which is
Oh.
it's a clay pot. So I think that's very us.
Wow, there you go. So this has been working really well this season. These words are really connecting people. Excellent. Thank you, Robin, for the word clay, and Marvee, you absolutely nailed it. So Marvee, for the person I speak to next, whoever that may be, which word would you like to give them the chance to speak for 30 seconds?
Okay. I did not. I was so focused on answering that I didn't think of, like, I was worried. I know how this goes because I've watched a couple, but like, has anyone said glass already?
Glass. We could do glass. Yeah, and repeated words are absolutely fine because I like to create a word cloud, and over time, you know, some words have become more common often, but we've never had glass. Believe it or not, in 6 seasons, we've never had glass. All right, folks. That is sadly the end of our conversation. I've only got 3.5 minutes before my recording cuts off, and I've got to get to the kids who I've left upstairs by themselves. Marvee's got to have dinner or whatever it is. Marvee, where can people find you on social media or anything? Or maybe, you know, if you've got a bank of, you know, the kind of stuff that you've produced, but where can people connect with you basically?
You can find me on Blue Sky. I'm pretty active on Blue Sky. I read a lot of research on Blue Sky. So it's Marvee Ambi at Blue Sky.
Yep, and the link for that will be in the description, folks. Marvee, I've really enjoyed. This has been a great start to my day. Thank you so much for being a ray of sunshine. And I've laughed, I've giggled, I've felt, you know, the discussions have been light and deep at the same time, and it's just been really a pleasure. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. I'm very honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Coffee and Geography. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app and leave us a rating or review. It really helps. Some episodes are also available with video, so don't forget to check out the Geogramblings YouTube channel for more. Stay in the loop by following us and using hashtag CoffeeJogPod on Blue Sky and LinkedIn. That's hashtag CoffeeJogPod, where we share updates on new episodes and upcoming guests. Got a question for a guest? Post it on LinkedIn or Blue Sky using hashtag JogQ Yes, hashtag JogQ and we might just feature it on the show. Keep exploring, keep connecting, and as always, keep geogging.